a retro gamer and hobbyist artist with a lot of nerve. Crowlister, the master of ponage. Hi guys, Crowlister here with another Let's Play. In this video, I will be playing Mega Man, the Wily Wars on the Sega Genesis, also known as a Mega Drive app for Nintendo Switch Online Expansion Pack. Mega Man, the Wily Wars is basically the first 3 Mega Man games on the NES in 16-bit. The games have been remastered based on what the Sega Genesis is capable of. Essentially, it is a remake. It goes a little bit above and beyond that, though. Now, of course, I must put in the disclaimer that since this is a full playthrough of a game, it does mean that the video contains spoilers. We got a cool opening sequence where Light is explaining what Mega Man can do as Mega Man wakes up. Then a blackout happens with ice surrounding the scene. And they're just cluttered up in the Robot Masters up to Mega Man 3 and other characters. Alright, I'm just gonna start a new file. I'll be fine. It's going to take a while to play every game in the set in one video, obviously. So, to make sure that the video's not as long as I actually played it, there are a few scenes that I will cut out. Notably boring scenes or scenes where I mess up. In this version of the game, we're gonna start with a Bomb Man. Alright, let's go. I had to get used to the controls on the Sega Genesis, because they're a little bit different from the NES. And I rarely play the Sega Genesis app because I'm not that interested in Sega as a whole. Or most of the games that are on the app at the moment. Though I was hopeful that this game would come to it at one point so I could try the Sega Genesis Mega Man game. And I got my wish, so at least there's one game I can play on it regularly. Oh my, this Sniper Joe is a nuisance. Even if you damage Buffer, he doesn't let you run past him. So... No, I am not dealing with you again. What's kind of interesting about the Wily Wars is that there are some stages that are easier than the NES versions and some that are harder. Forgive my awful computer. Yeah, there are some stages that are easier and some that are harder compared to the NES versions. They also buffed some weapons and bosses and nerfed others. Pardon me while I deal with this guy. Yeah, that's fair. I'm not even gonna bother to show the score results because nobody cares about that. The score system in the original Mega Man was completely unnecessary. It doesn't affect the game in any way, and you can't even save your top score, so what was the point? Alright, we're gonna do Guts Man now. Because Mega Man is a little bit bigger in this game than the original NES games, that does mean he's more susceptible to taking hits. I always hated maneuvering around the big eyes. Gutsman's weakness is the Hyper Bomb. And in Mega Man the Wily Wars, the Hyper Bomb actually doesn't suck quite as much. It detonates faster and is easier to hit with, overall, so... Alright, now we're gonna do Cut Man. I do like the way that the music sounds in Cut Man's stage in the Wily Wars. Some of the songs sound better on the original NES version, and some of them sound better in this game. Just my opinion. That's fine with me, because I have the super arm. The adhering Susies are slowing me down quite a lot, in case you can't tell. Like I said, I hate the big eyes. Alright, now, unlike in the original NES game from 1987, Cutman only takes 1 point of damage with the Mega Buster instead of 3, so he's a bit harder. And you also have to watch him jumping while you're readying the Super Arm. Once you pick up a block, he'll start jumping in an attempt to dodge it, so you have to be smarter than him. Alright, let's do a command now. As I mentioned at the start of the video while playing Bomb Man, there are some patterns that are going to be different compared to what I and others normally do in the NES games. Doing Bomb Man first and Cut Man third is one of the examples. Here's the first of the infamous appearing blocks patterns. Come on. Well, actually, corner jumped successfully. That's a first. Do you remember how in the original Mega Man had low friction and slid around easily? At least that doesn't happen anymore in the Wily Wars. Except for Iceman stage, of course, where the stage is covered in ice. Here's a vital item that requires the Super Arm to get the Magnet Beam. I'll also have you know that the Magnet Beam is nowhere near as useful as it was in the original NES game. It got severely nerfed in the Wily Wars. Good enough. Alright, next up, Iceman. Never did get over the fact that Iceman looks a lot like the Ice Climbers. You can destroy gabules with the rolling cutter or the thunder beam. More appearing blocks. Well, I handled that one just fine. I'm gonna try to do this appearing blocks part legitimately. Almost legitimately. And now observe how much weaker the magnet beam is in this game. It takes longer to suspend the platform across. On top of being harder to step on with a singular spot. So, there you go. Hate the big eyes. It's also harder to land hits on the peppies as you're approaching them. At least you're easy, as long as you avoid the ice slasher bullets. Alright, one more, Fireman. Wow, that was awful. Notice how that's an actual pitfall in this game. Up there. Even though it wasn't in the original NES game. Previously, Fireman was far and away the hardest boss in the game, and was borderline impossible to beat without taking damage, even with the Ice Slasher. In Mega Man the Wily Wars, however, he's a complete joke. And believe me, Fireman of all bosses needed a nerf. So now that we're done with them, we can confront the mad scientist himself. Good enough. I struggled a bit to get past the fire columns here, so watch me struggle. I'm in a hurry. Gonna have to take some burns. There we go. Alright, the next room going down from here is also a lot more difficult than it originally was, since you can't hang on the ladder anymore. And if you do the magnet beam route, you have to be careful of how high you jump because of the spikes on the ceiling. I hate the magnet beam in this version of the game so much. I guess Nintendo added the rewind option in its retro apps for a reason. And just think, on the brand new console coming out in just a few weeks from this recording, 3 weeks from me recording this part of the video, you'll be able to use the rewind on the Nintendo 64 app. I also like the retro screen filters, and customizable controls are also always nice for some people. Right, here we go, Yellow Devil. A boss that requires you to memorize its movement pattern, and can only be hit once to spawn with the Thunder Beam for the best result. This is boring, so just skip ahead to where the fight ends. I feel like the Yellow Devil's movement pattern at the start of the fight is the same as it was before, and then the next round is slightly different than it originally was. And onward. I just feel that way anyway. I memorized the Yellow Devil's movement pattern pretty good in Mega Man 11, and it's the same as it was in the original NES, Mega Man 1, so that's just a feeling. Gotta be extra careful of the Bunby Hellies. They can hit you off and make you fall easily. For Cut Man, you're gonna have to improvise to take him out quickly, and your best choice would be the Firestorm, since there are no super arm blocks anywhere. Now we got screwdrivers. You can use the thunder beam to take them out quickly. Yeah, that's not happening. And you're stuck with a Lackman of any boss. His thunder beam does severe damage on you, so it's very convenient. Awful. They purposely made it so that you can't beat the stages logically without taking damage. And I made the mistake of not refilling the Firestorm before the boss in this stage. The copy robot, so that made it a lot harder, and I'm gonna have to cut that part out for struggling. Just remember that it jumps as soon as you shoot, so you have to jump and shoot with careful aim, and the Firestorm is its weakness. So, yeah. For your information, I did not have fun fighting him. They effed up the water chute in this stage as well. They made it so that Mega Man and his bullets, or lemons as some people call them, move the same speed, and that it's hard to land hits on the peppies as you go forward. And of course, after that, you got explosive enemies. So they're gonna severely slow me down here. I'm gonna have to let the current drag me and not move forward myself. At least the boss isn't gonna be as scary as the rest of the stage was. Wait several seconds for the lift platform to come. And it finally arrives. right, I messed that up. I have to wait for it to come this way. Having a max refill would be greatly appreciated. Then we got some more rematches. With Bond Man, you want to use the Firestorm. Unfortunately, couldn't avoid damage. Fireman's not nearly as scary as he was before. Just remember that a column of fire appears underneath you as you're jumping over his fire waves. So you have to move out of the way at that moment. And unfortunately, I still took damage. At least I can make short work of Iceman. And then it's the Hyper Bomb for Gutsman. Being bigger obviously means you're more likely to take hits, and the super arm was infuriating me. So... So there you go. Not sure how I feel about the light and roll sprites. Oh well. Alright, so that's one game down. Next, we got the fan favorite of the trio. In fact, the entire franchise. In 16-bit form. Keep in mind that the games are based on the Japanese versions of the games, not the international ones. So there's no, quote, normal difficulty in this game, only the difficult mode. That's also the reasoning for the title screen in Mega Man 1 in this set of games. The PP's Easter egg at the start of each stage from the original game doesn't seem to be in this game. I checked. So, yeah. Alright, I screwed up severely here, so wait. For some reason, it's difficult to input jumps in some scenes. Airman himself is also really annoying. He's more vulnerable to the Mega Buster alone than the other bosses in this game are, though. Seriously, I hate Airman. Alright, then from Airman, we're gonna do Crashman. I am going in a bit of a different order in the Wily Wars than I do with the NES game, and that's for some reasons. Normally I would do Quickman after Airman. That's not how you do it, though, in the Wily Wars. So. Mega Man was big enough I could still make it on the platform. Use the air shooter to protect yourself from the little peepees. I'm gonna grab this energy tank while I'm here. That was not what I wanted to happen. There. Why is it hard to avoid the crash bomber in this game? Alright, now we're gonna do Quick Man, which is arguably the hardest boss in the game, especially in the Wily Wars. I've seen a lot of ROM hacks of this game that other people played on YouTube before, where they have the trap from the Quick Man stage in insanely difficult to avoid places throughout each stage. Could you imagine if I attempted any of those? Which is definitely not going to happen. I have no interest in playing fan games, only the official stuff. Partly for legal reasons, and partly because I like to stay with what's actually official, you know. For Quick Man, his weakness is supposed to be Flashman's ability, though the Crash Bomber also works. Just be careful not to miss. So yeah. There we go. From here, we're gonna do Metal Man, so I can finally get the Metal Blade. I'm not waiting around much for the moles. I'm just gonna have to take some hits from them. Alright, let's get that metal blade. Awesome. Moving forward. I'm gonna do Bubble Man now. I'm going to be a little bit passive crossing this part of the stage because of the falling crabs. We wouldn't want to get hit off on accident, wouldn't we? And then Bubble Man himself is easy, especially with its weakness, which is the metal blade. See? No damage. Alright, from here, we're gonna do Heat Man. The springers can be destroyed with the leaf shield or the quick boomerang. this appearing block sequence is easy. Crash Bomber can be a little bit useful in this stage. I didn't realize there were actually 3 tallies behind me, and of course one of them spawned as I tried to jump, after I destroyed the previous ones. You can't shoot the Quake Boomerang as quickly as you can in the original game, so Sniper Joes are a bit more annoying. For Heat Man, use the Bubble Lead. Next up is Woodman. Metal Blade's super useful here. Capture card was severely laggy there. It's fully charged atomic fire shots for Woodman. And be careful not to miss. One more, Flashman. The floor in this stage is slippery. You should probably keep that in mind. Leap shield is good on the shotgun. You can only have up to 4 energy tanks at once, mind you. Alright, here we go. PvPs are a bit more annoying compared to the original 1988 game, so... yeah. The Mecha Dragon gave me some problems, so be prepared for that up ahead. I love how they removed the crash bomber walls on the bad route just to make it more, you know, more sus, I guess. Awful. It's kind of a good idea that the Nintendo Switch Online apps all slow down flashing screens like that out of concerns of epilepsy and seizures. The Crash Bomber has a slightly larger blast range than it did before. Unnecessary use of ammo. That's all. There are invisible pitfalls here, keep in mind. Now for the most hateful part of the game, the boom beam trap. They made a boss that's immune to all weapons except the crash bomber, and you only have just enough ammunition to beat it. Seriously, how's that even fair? As well as that, you also have to use your support items to carry you up regularly throughout the battle, and you have to wait until it's gone on the screen before you can open your menu again. I was forced to use an energy tank here. Now we have the boring boss rush. Not many people probably want to sit through this, so... I will just say this, though. Just as he is in the original game, Metal Man is severely weak against his own special weapon. If that wasn't intentional, why did they bring it back in the Sega Genesis version? And then the Wily machine is a lot harder than it looks, as it was before, and I cannot beat it without the use of energy tanks. So... Although this attack is easier to avoid than it was before, I'm just focusing on destroying the machine. So, yeah. You might not necessarily need to wait for the lava drops in order to get past in this version of the game. I'm just doing it just because. And for the final alien boss, you have to use the bubble lead. It moves a little bit faster in this version of the game. And with that, we have whomped Wily once again. Alright, so with that, there's one game left for us to play. This will be the longest one to play through by far because of the dog robot, you know. I'll explain some differences, as in bumps and nerves, compared to the original NES version of the game as I play through. After I let the title music loop once, I'll begin. Alright, let's start with Top Man. That would be the easiest one of these robot masters in this game. Recording issues happening with my lousy laptop and capture card. course, in this game, you do have the ability to slide, which can dodge attacks and gain access to narrow passageways. Super useful. They made the stage look a lot more like an indoor stage with mechanics as opposed to the grassy scene that it actually is in the original game. Instead, the plants are just completely contained. It takes unnecessarily long to transcend after you get a Robot Master's weapon in Mega Man 3 in this game, so I'll be skipping over a lot of those. Alright, from there, it's gonna be Shadow Man. And I'll have you know that in this game, the top spin does not suck as a weapon. Here's the first Proto Man encounter. And I take really long to get through each of these, so I think I'll skip over them. Get lost walking bomb. See how the top spin can handle some enemies with ease. In the original game, that wasn't how it worked. So, here we go. Next up is my least favorite of the stages in this game. Not referring to the bosses. Sparkman. The Hammer Joes are more annoying in this game than they were in the original NES game. Because I find it harder to land hits on them, since the hard knuckle got nerfed. I absolutely hate the parts where you have to cross those spiked ceiling gaps on those elevator platforms. Especially the one after... just before the boss. Just after here. I'm not as worried about the bolt and buttons as I would be in the NES game, at least. So... Shadow Blade. A much weaker version of the Metal Blade, basically. You can throw it in 5 directions instead of 8, and it has shorter range. Shorter range is never good for fighting bosses. Right, next up is Magnet Man. Not as easy in this game as he was in the NES game. Another boring scene with Proto Man for me to skip over. It's slightly harder to land hits on him than it is on the NES game, need I mention. Now we got some appearing block puzzles. some of which have magnets pulling you towards the wall, making them even harder. You could use Rush Coil there to make it a little easier. This one's dangerous. Alright, got out of that mess. It's Spark Shock for Magnet Man. Oh boy, just you wait and see what they did to the magnet missile in this game. Absolutely awful. We can use the top spin on the returning Mud Kings. I'm just getting a health capsule here. The big Pikmin enemies are supposed to go down after 3 shots, and that one maybe hit 4. So. Just ignore the chibis. And we gotta fight Proto Man again. In the place where it's hardest to land hits on them. Now I'll just avoid them. They severely effed up the magnet missile in this game. It has shorter range before it automatically arcs vertically, and it has a tendency to go after Hardman's attack instead of the boss himself. And the weapon does deplete its ammo rather quickly as well in general. So, The magnet missile is more or less a garbage weapon in this version of the game. See, it can't even land hits on him. They made some weapons better, and they made others worse. So, there you go. Now we got the three that are weak against each other's weapons, and are not easy to beat with just a buster. One detail that detracts from me liking this game a little bit. Still, I start with Snake Man with these. The enemies attack quicker in this version of the game, so this stage is a bit more annoying. I feel like the Hard Knuckle got nerfed a little bit as well. The Hammer Joes can only be hit while their visor goes down, and it stays down shorter than it does in the original game, and the hammers they fling can deflect it. So, the Hammer Joes are obviously a lot more annoying in this version. Snake Man's weakness is actually the needle cannon, which is affixed within the triangular pattern of enemies and their weaknesses, like I said, so I just use the Shadow Blade, and I almost always need to use an energy tank against him. Not that I have to use energy tanks often throughout the rest of the game. So, there you go. Now we got Gemini Man. In this scene, Proto Man appears to help you, and it's kinda hard to get over that they didn't change his sprite compared to the original NES game. They just refined it instead, and it makes Mega Man look taller than him, which is hilarious. You need Rush Coil to progress here. The combination of Yambos and Peppy Makers is a little inconvenient here. I'm not even paying attention to the little Peppies, I'm just focusing entirely on destroying the generators. And as a result, I'm taking hits a bunch. Not a lot of damage, though. There's a big health capsule right there, anyway. Rush Marine. Another formerly useful item in this stage that got nerfed quite a lot in this game. You can shoot one bullet at once maximum with it. Luckily, the whale rocket robots are pretty frail, so you can take them out pretty quickly. That's as far as I'm gonna use Rush Marine. I should have jumped backward on the previous block, I guess. For Gemini Man, you use the Search Snake. During the first phase where he hides among a clone, he will shoot as soon as you shoot. And then in the lone phase with the Gemini laser, he jumps as soon as you shoot. So, if that helps you to memorize his movement pattern a little, there you go. So that leaves Needleman of the 8 main Robot Masters. The Hairy Harrys are even more of a nuisance in this game than they were in the original NES game. The Gemini laser doesn't disappear as soon as it destroys them, and trying to fight them with the Buster alone is absolutely futile, especially since you can't auto-fire in the NSO apps. I also love how the music that plays on this stage has to be in a different key and tempo. I decided against grabbing the energy tank. And after getting hit off by the Hairy Harry, maybe I should have. Like I said, though, it's not like I need energy tanks throughout the entire game anyway. Just for, like, one main case, and that was against Snake Man. Without the needle cannon. The big jumper enemies, once they lift up their visor, can be destroyed in one hit with the hard knuckle. Then Needleman's weakness is the Gemini laser. For the Robot Master rematches, which I'm probably going to skip over again, just so the video can be over with a little quicker, Top Man's weakness would be the hard knuckle. Just for the record. You also get Rush Jet for defeating Needleman. And now the Dock Robot. Oh joy. In the Japanese version of the game, Rockman 3, blah blah blah, in the title, they actually call it the Skull Robot, which makes more sense for its design. They just call it the Dock Robot in the English version for whatever reason. And there was a Mega Man anime back in the day where the Dock Robot actually looked like a scientist, in accordance. You got Alekins coming out of the ceiling throughout this part, so the Shadow Blade will be good to use. First up is the Metal Man Dock Robot, and its weakness is the Magnet Missile, which, as I explained with Hard Man, has been severely nerfed and is now borderline unusable. Yeah. Besides Snake Man, the other case where I pretty much almost always have to use an energy tank is the next Dock Robot in this very stage. And this playthrough was no exception. And it doesn't help that the Quickman Doc Robot's weakness is the Gemini Laser, which slows you down severely if you miss. So I have to aim carefully, shoot him up close. I always hated Quickman, especially this version of him. See, about the Harry Harrys. It's not convenient at all. Rush Jet would be safer than Rush Coil. Man, you can't shoot the Shadow Blade as fast. I wasn't fast enough to hit him. For the Airman Doc Robot, we're gonna use the Spark Shock. Like I said, I always hated Airman. As well as Quickman. The next section requires you to sustain Rush Jet, and to collect big weapon refill capsules regularly in order to sustain your fuel. I can't get the health pickup while riding it, what the heck? Alright, here we go. Gotta watch out for Yambos and Parasus. The glitch from the original game where you move faster on Rush Jet after you take a hit is also in this game. If you're overly concerned about remaining health, you can grind against the metals from the big metal sub-bosses until your health gets full. Though in my opinion, that's not necessary. I'll get some health here. There's a big health capsule right there as well, so, yeah. Ordinarily, the weakness of the Crashman Doc Robot would be the hard knuckle. However, in the Wily Wars, it's very difficult to land a hit on him with the hard knuckle, so instead, I'm gonna use the needle cannon. And sliding helps avoid the crash bomber a little easier. Just remember, he jumps at the moment that you shoot, so you have to wait for him to get kind of up close to you. Now for the easiest, in my opinion, of the Dock Robot stages. Judging by the sound effect that played, that had to be a 1-up or an energy tank. So, lucky me. For the Flashman one, I used the needle cannon. And while he's not a boss I will ever expect to ever beat without taking damage against, he still takes a lot less health out of me than the Dock Robots in the first half of the previous stages do. And even the one after. Now, this big fish rocket robot continually respawns if you just stay here. So it forces you to use Rush Marine to progress at all. And I'm not testing the spikes. So the fact that it's one bullet only with Rush Marine in this game, that makes it a bit scary. Much appreciated. And now for an easier one. Kinda like how Bubble Man's original weakness was the Metal Blade, this Dock Robot's weakness is the Shadow Blade. Nailed him. I am not good at jumping over these pitfall platforms at all, so I'm just gonna use Rush Jet to make it a lot easier. In the NES version of the game, the Woodman one is also scary. You can use the Search Snake or the Needle Cannon for this one. That was easier than it is in the NES version. I only got hit once. Now to put the top spin to use. The new and significantly improved top spin, that is. And the top spin is also the weakness of the Heatman Dog robots. There goes my computer processing poorly again. Now we got the boring break command battle. I'm sure nobody wants to sit through the entirety of this. So, then we have an intermission. Thank you, Capcom, for fixing that spelling error. Because the original NES version of the game obviously spelled Wily wrong. Alright, so now we're in the Wily Castle stages. energy tank. Convenient, definitely. You destroy these barriers with the hard knuckle. You can go in here if you want the energy tank and a big increase in your health and one of your weapons, if you wish. We got some very annoying Hammer Joe evasions here. That's not gonna do me any good. Just remember that the hard knuckle can be steered up and down as it's traveling. Using the hard knuckle on that one's not going to do any good. I have to rely on the Shadow Blade. More appearing blocks. A much easier to memorize one, though. Alright, we're gonna use the Shadow Blade for this boss. That boss is very easy. That's a very uncomfortably placed hive to release chibis. And I'll have you know that chibis are immune to the top spin, which makes matters worse. Lots of free resources along the way. So here we are at the new Yellow Devil. This fight doesn't take as long as the original Yellow Devil, so I think I can do this one without cutting. For its weakness, you want to use the hard knuckle. If you're quick, you can hit it more than once. Yeah, I think on the subsequent dismantle and reunite patterns, it goes backwards compared to what it's supposed to do. That's not gonna do any good. I can destroy that hologram, though. Ow. For the hologram megamans, the weakness is the search snake. And you should assume that the one on the very top is the one that's the actual one on the first spawn. And it just so happened that was on this one as well. Even though you have to wait in between hits in this version of the game, he's still very easy. So. There, I'm all recharged. The top spin will do great against the junk golems. Now we got the boring robot master rematches. In this game, the capsules, going top down to the right, are arranged in the numerical order that they're in the official lineup, which makes them a little easier to memorize which is which. So with this, we move on to the final in quotation marks, I should say, Wily stage. I only need a few weapons reloaded. The hard knuckle is one of them. Spark shock is another. And I'm good on all the others. That Wily was a decoy. So now we're going on into the real final battle. Bunch of unnecessary recovery items. Just use the Shadow Blade to hit Gamma's head quickly. Then you climb your way up these platforms and take him out quickly with a top spin. They also call him Dr. Light instead of Dr. Right, like they do in the Japanese versions of the game. Another typo they also just so happen to have fixed. And we have this epilogue. You know how I said that was the final game in the set? Well, I lied. After you beat the 3 main games, an additional new game called Wily Tower is added. And that's what we're going to play now. The persistence of an Albert Einstein parody. Alright, we're gonna start with Buster Rod G. A robot that looks like a gorilla. In between stages in Wily Tower, you have the ability to use any 8 weapons and any 3 support items from the trilogy you want to use. And you can change them in between stages, which is super useful and really cool. These stages are basically made to test your true knowledge about the original Mega Man trilogy, so to say. That Mata Saburo can be a bit of a problem. Koma Saburo. I was trying not to get the names mixed up. The combination of Robit and PPs. I should have used the Metal Blade here. Definitely should have. In this case, I'll use it now. The Metal Blade one-hit knockouts the petite snakies. Convenient. You also have the ability to slide in this game from Mega Man 3. I'll use the Firestorm since it's in fact the weakness of the Pikmin. Haha. There's a secret room right here if you have the Crash Bomber. We're gonna use Rush Jet to make that path a lot safer. They abbreviate the Crash Bomber CL instead of CR, because in the Japanese version of the game, they call Crashman Kalashman for some reason. I do know that the Japanese characters for the letters L and R are the same, and that's notorious for mistranslations, so it probably has to do with that, my personal guess. Wait for the Pikmin. I know people might say in the comments at one point that they're called Picklemen. That's a mistranslation, and Mega Man 11 kind of makes that clear. Buster Rod G's weakness, that I know, is the hard knuckle. And you have to aim carefully because he can deflect it with his rod. I would assume the G in his name stands for gorilla, because he's clearly a monkey. I'm gonna have to dodge for a while. Yeah, you're cool, totally doing an illusion move. And then he escapes, vowing that he'll meet again. Alright, next we'll do Mega Water S. I'm assuming the S stands for Sponge, because he does look a little bit like Wire Sponge from the Mega Man X series. I just so happen to... I switched out one of my weapons for the Hyper Bomb, especially for the main boss itself. I should have used the Quake Boomerang. The Quake Boomerang would have been pretty useful for me to use in some of the stages. In my next playthrough and onwards, I will do that. They're just not going to be recorded for YouTube, that's all. Awful. At least the Thunder Beam works on the shrimp enemies. I'm gonna have to use the Metal Blade for the main part of it, though. use the hard knuckle on this one. And we can get another energy tank in here. I bet they put that there specifically to jump scare the player. Alright, Mega Water S's weakness that I know is the Hyper Bomb. Occasionally, he'll put up a shield that can block shots. You want to aim carefully and make sure not to miss. I missed, so I'm rewinding. He just stands on that clump of land and moves back and forth. So... kinda read his movement. Throw the bomb in that place in accordance, I guess. Alright, that leaves Hyperstorm H, which I have to assume stands for Hog, because, as you can see... I hate these pitfall platforms so much. In fact, pardon me while I evade embarrassment. I only fell once, just for the record. Still. Yeah, that's not gonna happen. Much appreciated. There's another secret room here if you have the hard knuckle. The only problem is, this one has an extra life instead of an energy tank. Wow. For Hyperstorm H, you can use the Metal Blade. The way that this stage works, along with the fact that he has more vitality than bosses normally do, can make him be a bit of a pest. That'll have to do for now. Once you're through with those 3 stages, you can confront the Wily Tower itself, which has some stages of its own. Just 4 in total. The first stage is a fire stage. Oh great, the big eye. And I completely forgot that the firestorm is not its weakness. Wow. Awful. Abysmal. I'm just gonna bounce up the ladder with Rush Coil. Then I'm gonna use Rush Jet because it's gonna take a while for the platform to come back. Shaky. Having the ability to slide at least makes these a little easier. I can't shoot that screwdriver though because the fire waves deflect it. Or at least not easily. I got the bubble lead, especially for this boss. You're on these bouncy spring platforms and are fighting this fire hydra, basically. I choked on it pretty badly during this recording and took a lot of hits, so I had to use an energy tank. Forgive me. That was a lot more demanding than I remembered it was. This next stage is a semi-water-based one. See what's behind here. A mystery tank, really? Not interested. I definitely should have come with the quick boomerang in this stage. It would have made it a lot easier. It's hard to remember stuff. If I had the quick boomerang, I could destroy the springers. Another example. I have no reason to be up here. There is an actual energy tank here. For this boss, we're gonna use the Thunder Beam. Wait for the eyes to appear before you shoot them. Other than that, this boss is easy. The next stage is mainly space-themed, as you can see. Interesting concept. The first stage of the Wily Tower is a fire world. Then the one after that is basically an overworld. And now you're one that's more so in the sky. Very interesting concept for a Wily stage placement in this game. Thunderbeam will do nicely on Komasaburos. Good to know. For this stage's boss. We got a nice little reunion with Buster Rod G, and he'll fight with a Buster instead of a Rod. Just use the hard knuckle on him while aiming carefully, and you can defeat him easily. Onwards with the final battle. Proto's pitching in to help. How nice. And off we go. For the entirety of this Wily machine, you can just use the Thunder Beam. Then Mega Man dodges that final bomb Wily threw, and then he chases him out of the tower into another intermission, where the tower collapses. And then in place of credits, it shows a roll reiterating all of the robot masters in the game. Then after a bit, Wily trips over a pebble. And being the sympathetic kind of character he is, Mega Man hesitates as he approaches. And Wily takes advantage of that and uses his ship to beam him back up and escape, so that he can resume his sinister plot once again later. Then it says, "Thank you for playing," presented by Capcom, and that's where the game ends. Consider subscribing or checking out my channel if you like any of the franchises I have listed here, because I do like these a lot and would like to talk about them up ahead. I am also a hobbyist artist and make a lot of fan art of game franchises that I like, and will occasionally try out some retro games that I might want to do a Let's Play of for YouTube like this as well. I will be getting Nintendo's new console and trying to catch up on more arcade archives by Namco in particular as they come, so stay tuned for that. And to be quite honest, I have quite a lot planned for my channel in various sorts, so consider checking me. With that is going to wrap up this video. I am Crowlister, Master of Ponage. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on my next upload, whatever the content might be. Bye.